Okay, a good moed, good Erev Yontif to everybody. I'd like to just speak a little bit about the idea of Shevi'i Shel Pesach. This Lela Seder, when I was by the Seder, I asked my children, I was puzzled by a question, why is it necessary that there should be 50 makas alayam? What's the point? What are Chazal trying to tell us? And I did a lot of thinking about it, and I crossed my mind that there's a machlokes in the poskim. What does it mean with really 50 nisim, or with just the nisim split up into smaller groups? And I went to do some research. The Me'am Lois actually has a list of all the 50 nisim, and I believe that there's a nekuda, which this yontif in particular deserves some attention, because I think that we're really in that place. Somebody has a good wine, so a drunkard just woofs down the whole thing in one shot. A person who's a connoisseur, he plays with it in his mouth and he smells it, he thinks about it, he's involved with it. You take it piece by piece, little bit by little bit, sip by sip, and then you're able to thoroughly enjoy it. Those people like the Asavs who just woof down the whole thing, they may have it all in their belly, but they don't necessarily really appreciate the wine that they're having. So too, the nace of Mitzias Mitzrayim, the nace of Kriyas Yamsuf, they have to be thought about and contemplated. I'd like to mention some of the nisim which the Me'am Lois brings, and from there I would like to have you think about something that's going on in our own lives. First of all, you know, you have a pool that looks luscious, cool water on a hot day, and not everybody's just willing to just jump into the pool. Some people are scared, some people going little by little. Imagine you're standing in front of the Yam Suf, and Klal Yisrael's walking through. Would you dare go in there? Just imagine there's a bridge that you see it expanding over some major waterway, and you don't see anything holding it up. I don't think I would go in it. What were the Mitzrayim thinking that they just ran into it? And I think that the answer to that question is that they weren't thinking, they ran into it. But the Medrash says that this was actually a nace that the Mitzrayim ran into it. Seichel would say, stay safe, stay on the side, don't go into the water. The Medrash tells us that not only do the waters of the Yam Suf split, but the waters throughout the world, even in every jug, in every jar, the water is split, and it explains exactly what it looked like. And the Medrash says the reason why this was done is so that we shouldn't be able to explain it as a natural phenomenon that happened at that time because of the winds were blowing or something like that. And the Medrash says something else. Fascinating Medrash, a sounding like Joe. The tunnels, each Shevet had their own tunnel according to one Medrash. The walls in between them were like stone walls, and they were lit up with the Eish that followed them at night, powered those tunnels that they were able to see from one side to the other. I think that we think about this, we just think, you know, they crossed the Yam Suf, they got to the other side. And that's wonderful, nice. Mitzvah Shem, we're going through a period now where maybe in 2 years' time, maybe in 5 years' time, maybe in 6 months' time, people will say, we went through the coronavirus. Be'ez Hashem, shortly, way less than 6 months, we should be out of here. Mitzvah Shem, Mashiach should come. We should be out of here. But even up with Teva, there's hope that we get out of this situation. And people are going to take it and just say, how'd you do it? We just did it. I think we have an obligation to stop and take stock of the beautiful things that happened around us. As a silver lining to the cloud, I believe that many of us actually got to know ourselves better. It's a frightening situation, and we think we know ourselves. there's a mashal which is given, and there was a fellow who was a beautiful sculpturer, and he made a beautiful sculpture of a horse, and this is in the olden times, and he put it in the park, and everybody walked by the horse, and nobody stopped to admire it at all. And he was very frustrated. He made such a beautiful horse, and nobody's admiring it. Why is nobody admiring his horse? So he went to ask the Chacham, why is nobody admiring your horse? So the Chacham said, let me see your horse. So the Chacham goes to the park, he looks at his horse, he said, oh, of course nobody's surprised at your horse. Nobody pays any attention. It looks so good, it looks real, it looks like a regular horse. So why would anybody stop to admire a regular horse? So he says, so how do I get people to take note of my super horse? So he said, very simple. Take a very sharp knife, slice the horse down the middle, and leave the two halves just an inch away from each other. Everybody will stop and gape at your horse. And that's what the man did. He cut the horse. Everybody stopped wooing and eyeing that beautiful horse, and he became a famous sculptor. We live in a life, and we have Hashgacha Pratis. We live with unbelievable nisim, and we just say, Olam k'minhagoi noyeg. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to stop and split our life in the middle and cause us to stop and appreciate that which we have. As we go to cross the Yam Suf, Emirtz Hashem, tomorrow morning, our obligation is to stop and think about our lives that were split, separated, dismembered, and look at each part of our life and appreciate the beautiful back, the beautiful nose, the eyes of the horse. So too, we have our family, we have our friends, we have our limud HaTorah, and we have those things which we take for granted normally, and now that they come to us with difficulty, we have an obligation to be mahalal u'l'shabeach HaKadosh Baruch Hu for that which we have. But you have to take note. I think this Pesach is a Pesach that if it just goes down and we're able to say, you know, like those people who came to Israel, so did you do the kosel? Did you do kevarachot? Did you do the banyas? Did you go to see Reb Chaim Kanevsky? So some people say, did you do Corona? If you did Corona, then you missed it. If you stop, take stock, and take some kind of a message out of it, and split that yam, make it something meaningful to you. Stop in mid-tracks. I think that we all, to a certain sense, jumped into this yam, and it was up to our noses until we bayatzak el Hashem, and we cried out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hatzilenu. When we cry out to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hatzilenu, Emirtz Hashem, He should split for us the difficulties that we have, and Emirtz Hashem, tomorrow we should walk through to a Geula Shlema B'Mehera. Thank you all very much. You should have a good Tvach, a good Shabbat Yontif, and everything should go well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good Yontif, good Yontif. Yeah, everybody be smiling and happy. That's the mitzvah hayom. Even in the Yontif like this, there's room for simcha. Baruch Hashem. We have much to be grateful for. Yontif.
Good Yontif.
Yontif, Rob, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Okay.